Welcome to another F8 IT Solutions how-to guide. Today I'm going to show you how password naming conventions work and how you can apply them to your day-to-day life. Just before I go any further, this is a little bit longer than normal video and it is predominantly aimed at people using this for personal purposes. Business users following this guide, you may pick up a few tips and tricks, but because your company will have reserved the right to change your password to a completely different system whenever they fancy it, it might not work out so well for this particular password naming convention. People using it at home, however, is perfect for social networking, online retailers, and just generally using them on the internet. So, first of all, let me explain a basic naming convention. For example, you might have 10 people who join a company or join a club or a forum or whatever it is you manage, and you might have it set up so that rather than using their full names, so let's say it's my full name, that you would have a naming convention. So it might be K Don or be Kier D. It could be a naming convention that works. So you have a second person that comes along. Say it was Richard Dorrell, who's helped out with my website. You'd have R Dorrell, and then or for example you'd have Rich. There you go. Oops. Rich D. So that's just a basic naming convention. So you're always following a set of rules. So in this case, it'd be the first initial and then the 3 characters of the surname. Again, first initial, 3 characters of the surname. Or alternatively, it'd be the first 4 characters of the forename and then the first letter of the surname. That's just a naming convention. So that's what I mean by when I use the term naming convention. Now in passwords, you can also use a naming convention. So let's say, for example, my password, let's say it was Linkin Park, so Linkin, band I quite like, and it's 2010, so we'll go for 10. So let's just say that was a basic password. I use that absolutely everywhere. That's what we're going to call our base password. So it's between 4 and 8 characters ideally. You don't want to make it too short, too long, because some companies will require certain minimum and maximum passwords, and that's what we're going to basically be messing around with. So, for example, if I register at Amazon, Play, eBay, let's mix it up a little bit with Facebook. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to register an account with all 4 of these places, and I don't want any one of them to have more information than they need to have. So with Amazon, I would register with my normal email address, and I would create a password. Let's just start off with Lincoln10. Just copy that. And I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and I'm going to put the password in as A for Amazon, and with Play, oops, I'm going to put P for Play, eBay, I'm going to go E, and Facebook, I'm going to go F. So that's a very, very basic password that I would use for those websites, and that would be a password naming convention. So the naming convention part of it being that we always use the first letter of the company name we're registering up with, and then we use our normal password. Now to Amazon, that may make a lot less sense than if let's say for instance somebody compromised your Amazon account and they had that password plus they had your normal email address. You then cheekily go onto play.com thinking, oh, I'm going to rinse your debit card and credit cards. They put in that password and it doesn't let you in. Now they may be able to figure out that that was part of a naming convention. Chances are they won't. However, let's play it safe and let's make this a little bit more complicated. So let's say for example that you always follow the system of using the second initial. So let's say, for instance, you use M there for Amazon, or L for Play, or B for eBay. And there we'll have A for Facebook. So again, you followed a slightly different structure there, where it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit harder to figure out, where it's always the second letter of the company that you're registering up with. Now this again is slightly fallible, that if somebody did compromise your account there, let's say it was the Amazon account, and they just happened to register up at another company that had M as the second letter, they'd be let in because they have your email address and they actually do have the right password because coincidentally they also had M as a second initial. So we want to make it that little bit more complicated so that the chances are that this wouldn't happen just out of pure bad luck. So we might want to have it so that we have the A from Amazon, we'll put that at the end. But just to get extra complicated, we're going to make it a capital. Because again, it's always good to have at least one uppercase and lowercase inside your passwords. So on this one, we're going to go, so it's L for Play, and then P at the end for Play. B for eBay, then your normal password, then E, and then F. So this now, if I'd have showed you that at the beginning of this video, you would have gone, that makes no sense whatsoever, and it's just nonsensical. But it does make a lot of sense. If you can memorize this naming convention, which again, you will remember, you'll be doing this more regularly, so this is something that's going to be rather fresh in your mind, that there will make very, very little sense to a company who's just stolen all your information off a particular website, and they won't get very far with that particular string of passwords. So these are just the little things that you can do to try to safeguard yourself. One last thing is that some people might be tempted to include symbols. So let's say, for instance, you want to stick a dollar symbol at the end of all of these. I'm not saying don't do it, because I think it's great that you make it even more complicated. However, some websites don't allow you to have symbols, and the last thing I want for you to do is to go and make this your normal password system, and then on certain websites it doesn't work, and it kind of breaks your system, so that perhaps you won't remember that that website didn't allow symbols, and you'll be trying again and again and again and again. It'll keep telling you that you've got the wrong password. That can become an issue. So I'm just trying to preempt that a little bit, and I haven't included symbols in this naming convention. Because there will be the odd website that won't allow a symbol. So this now, characters-wise, I think is 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 characters. Not many websites will have a problem with that. They normally ask you to put at least between 6 and 18 characters, so you fit beautifully in the middle there. So that's a password naming convention. I encourage that you use something different than what we've just used here. I would, however, discourage perhaps using domain names like .co.uk, like don't use the letters out of the .co.uk, because that may not work out with .tvs and .coms and .infos. You'll need to create something that makes sense, but however works on every type of company you could possibly register up with. I like messing about with a company's first name, because every company you deal with will either be a one-name company or they'll have a first part of their company name. So that's the general rule which I would encourage you try to live by, or use your passwords by. So that's pretty much it for the video guide. I'm sorry it's taken 424 seconds so far, so it's a little bit longer than usual, but hopefully you find this useful, and I'd encourage you go and get your passwords changed as soon as you figure out a clever password naming convention. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful, and as usual, any questions, please leave a comment below or send us an email through the website. Thank you very much.